everyone, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. This is our second card for the Lily and Moss paper pad by Craft. This is a card I made for Leslie from Little Bits in Keysborough, so her details will be down below. So I'm going to use, I was flicking through the bits and pieces and we pulled this out on the last card. You'll be able to flick across and have a look at the first card. I'll try and link it below. And we're going to tidy up the little taggy bits that come when you pop them out. So we're going to use this bit. I'm going to make a little shaker card. Now I'm going to tell you straight out that this card is what I finished with in this video is not the same as what you'll see in the photos at the end. I do apologise. I don't really know what happened because I made this card and I struggled with it. I wasn't too sure. I was really umming and ahhing about it. So what I do in the end is alter it a little bit. So we're going to make a shaker card. So we've got some little sequins. We've got a bit of acetate, and I need to go through mine and sort of get rid of some of mine because clearly I don't check before I grab a big piece. We're going to use some glitter as well. We're going to use some seam binding, and in the end we're going to use some vellum, and we're going to alter it because I decided I didn't like it. Okay, so you need to put a little bit of glue around the edge. Now be super careful. You don't want it oozing out, so you put a little bit down and smush it around. Okay, we're just making the front of our shaker little pouch, shaker little element. Let's just go with that. So we're going to tidy that up a little bit, and I'm going to use this green paper, but we're going to settle it down later on with a bit of vellum, and I had a bit of smush on there. This is some thin tape. I can't think of who it's by, but Leslie has it in the shop, and it was perfect sizing to go around the edges. Now with a shaker you don't, obviously, most of us know that we don't want any holes, any gaps. We want it to be butt up against each other. That's what I'm trying to tell you there, butted up against. So nothing falls out, no glitter, no sequins, nothing. And I'm only going to use one layer because I didn't want it too big. And we're just going to use the rest of this piece of foam tape on the rest of it. It doesn't matter so much if it's not up against each other. We have this tiny bit over, so I didn't waste it, I just shoved it in the middle. And that is it on that. So we've got a little anti-static embossing powder pad thing, and we're just going to go around the edges just to cut down some of that static, hopefully. Now, because I wanted the back of it a little bit raised, a little bit higher, we're going to put a bit of acetate on the back of it. Just putting a little bit of a shaker bits and pieces. I probably used a little bit too much sequins because it can be a little bit hard. It's not too bad, but it can be a little bit hard to see because, as I said, we're only using one layer, so we don't actually have that much more to go. That's what I'm talking about, a thin layer, so we don't want too much at all. Be careful when you're taking off your foam, the backing paper of the foam, because if you make it jump, you see I've got my finger sort of stuck on it, I'm trying to be super careful. Put our acetate. If you make it jump, we're going to end up with sequins and glitter and everything everywhere. And there's our little shaker thing that we just have to keep shaking. And I'm just going to tidy that up a little bit. So here we're going to, and I know I'm a little bit off screen, I'm still working on it, still trying to remember. So in the end, I'm just going to play with bits and pieces and the elements here. If you're not too sure, just put it down. Use up all your little bits of scraps and everything else and just see how you go and see whether you like it. Now, in the end, this piece of green paper is going to be 8 centimeters by 14.8 on a standard side folding card, which I think is Aussie A4, A5, not A4, A5. Cut my little taggy bits off. You're going to see with me just playing a lot with scraps and bits and pieces just to see where I wanted them, if I liked it, if I didn't like it, and this is where I go. So I'm going to just play with it. So when I'm doing this voiceover, it is 10th of May 2020 and it is Mother's Day. So I hope you all the mothers out there that are going to watch this video, I hope you had a great day. So we're going to trim it. So that piece is, we're going to trim off the bottom in a little bit, but I'll actually go back in again and use my scissors only because I don't trust myself really to cut it off at the right angle. So I'd rather cut it a little bit longer and then go in with my scissors, because you can just use the cardstock as a guide. This piece of text paper is going to be 2 centimeters by 14.8 in the end as well. And you'll see that I'll just glue it down and then later on I'll cut it off. So I'm going to give you the measurement, and this information will be on my blog. Link will be down below as well. The vellum is 5 centimeters wide, but honestly I've used 2 pieces of scrap, or did I cut a little bit off? I used 1 piece of scrap and another piece of something I've cut off the vellum, and because this is all glued. Okay, so I was sort of piecing this all together and I was faking it until I made it. So again, a little bit of glue and smush it around. Just be super, super careful. You don't want to get too much. You'll have a little bit of room to hide it with some of the glitter and some of the sequins, but you really don't want too much at all. And that's pretty much that bit. So I placed the vellum in the top of it and a little bit on the bottom of it. And then using where I decided to put my bow, because what you see here is not what I'm going to end up using. This is a little bit of seam binding, just white seam binding. So what you're going to see here is not what I end up with, as I said before. But I'll play around with the bow and I'll fuss and fiddle and carry on with the bow until I like it. So I thought about where I was going to place my bow. I thought about where I was going to place extra sequins, and I put the glue dots underneath them. So I just really needed to, and you can see, because you can see the glue dots through the vellum. So it was easy enough to figure out where it was. And that's how it stays on. The top piece had about 3 little sequins. The bottom piece had, I don't have the card in front of me here somewhere. The sequence at the bottom, oh, yes I do. Oh, and crash. There's 2 little sequins on the bottom, but then you've also got the bow. So there's 3 little spots on the bottom as well. That's hiding the glue. So it just sort of tones it all down. And we're going to add a little bit of stickles over. I've added a bit of stickles, over on the flower that's on that pink piece. So I'm using a bit of tweezers here to hold the ribbon in place. It looks a bit of a hot mess sort of thing. But they're really handy because you squeeze them and then they open. They're not like a standard tweezers. You squeeze them and they open. And I'm just going to fiddle with the bow until, So this seam binding is wrapped around the card. So all I really need to do to take it off is to bend the card slightly, not fold it, but bend it a little bit. You can see how it's loosening up just there, and slip it off. So in the end, I do that, and I put the bow down in the bottom right-hand corner of the pink piece, and then with the sequence. So I'm sorry that, I don't know whether I didn't press go on the record or whether I've deleted it accidentally or the fairies, video fairies just came and stole it. So that's the card. Like, subscribe, and thank you. And all the information will be down below to my blog. Thank you.